Music and Art 7, Lesson 2. Contemporary and Emerging Southeast Asian Theater Arts. Learning competency. After this lesson, you must be able to discuss how representative contemporary and emerging theater arts of the Philippines and selected Southeast Asian countries influence their cultural identity and diversity. Distinguish subjects, themes, concepts, mediums, processes, techniques, and/or practices applied in the contemporary and emerging theater arts of the Philippines and selected Southeast Asian countries. Produce creative works about contemporary and emerging theater arts of the Philippines and selected Southeast Asian countries using relevant concepts, processes, techniques, and/or practices. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to identify and describe various Asian theater practices. Explain the relevant principles of theater arts. Analyze how contemporary and emerging Southeast Asian theater arts influence cultural identity and diversity. Distinguish subjects, themes, concepts, mediums, processes, techniques, and/or practices applied in Southeast Asian theater arts. Motivational activity. Theater icebreaker. Instructions: start with a short video clip or performance excerpt from a well-known Southeast Asian theater production. After viewing, ask students to share their initial impressions and feelings about the performance. Discuss how theater can reflect and shape cultural identity. Principles of theater arts in Southeast Asia. Let's discuss. The various theaters of Southeast Asia that are emerging today are very varied, dynamic, representing the rich variety of cultural heritage from its people and innovating into the modern day. Here, some of the more common elements and principles can be identified in these contemporary theater practices. 1. Interdisciplinary integration. This would cover the integration of various arts into the performance, like dance, music, visual arts, and multimedia. Example: more often than not, Indonesian contemporary theater uses gamelan music and traditional dances together with modern choreography and video projections. 2. Cultural fusion. This would be the merging of different cultural elements with the input of modern inspiration to form new, pioneering theater expressions. Example: Filipino theater companies may integrate traditional rituals with modern stories in developing performances that engage with contemporary social issues. 3. Experimental forms. This involves the infusion of new forms and unconventional forms of storytelling, staging, and performance techniques. Example: Thai theater troupes may use abstract staging and multimedia to reinvent classic texts. 4. Interactive performance. The involvement of the audience in performance through direct interaction, participatory activity, or immersive experience. Example: audience participation in Malaysian theater performances can be asked to join in telling a story, by making choices that determine the course of the events in the story. 5. Political and social commentary. It makes commentaries on the social, political, as well as economic concerns through theater. Example: government policy, corruption and social justice are among the most common themes staged in contemporary Vietnamese theaters. 6. Incorporating multimedia. Digital technologies, video, projection mapping and sound, are utilized in bringing in an added theatricality to the performance. Example: a Singaporean theater would more often than not apply a visual auditory sense to bring the performance into a technologically current one, with visual dynamism. 7. Physicality and movement. Emphasis is placed on utilizing physical movement, dance, and body language as signifiers of narrative and emotion. Example: contemporary Thai theater may also focus on the physical expertise of theater to portray abstract concepts and emotions. 8. Community-based. This involves local communities in the creation and performance of theater in reflection and addressing local concerns and stories. Example: Indonesian theater groups might engage rural communities in devising performances highlighting local folklores and social concerns. 9. Crossbreed performance spaces. Making use of unconventional venues for staging, examples would include city streets, public spaces, or other unconventional venue types. Example: Filipino street theater often transforms the public space into a space of performance, thereby democratizing access to theater. 10. Narrative innovation. This would include exploration of new ways of storytelling. Storylines would, therefore, follow nonlinear patterns, while fragmented structures and/or multimedia storytelling would be brought into play. Example: contemporary Malaysian theater may adopt fragmented narratives and multimedia representations of particular themes and perspectives. 11. Cultural preservation and revitalization. Renewal and preservation of traditional forms of theater by using modern elements in a way that does not alienate them. Example: traditional Thai con performances might incorporate modern music and staging but maintain the dance and story elements consistent with their traditions. 12. Identity exploration. The questions of identity, cultural, national, and personal in the theatrical narratives. Example: most Vietnamese theater tends to question national identity and cultural heritage in both modern and historical perspectives. 13. Gender and sexuality representation. It questions and challenges the traditional gender role and sexual mores by the medium of performance. Example: Filipino theater today may address the issues of LGBTQ peoples and gender identities with diverse and inclusive representations. 14. Collaborative creation. Collaboration between artists coming from different disciplines, backgrounds, and countries in the creation of performances. Example: Southeast Asian multinational theater projects convene a group of various artists from different countries working towards one performance. 15. Cross-cultural dialogue. The usage of theater to facilitate conversations across cultures for better understanding and exchange. Example: Singaporean theater may put on plays that combine elements of many Southeast Asian cultures to engender cross-cultural understanding and appreciation. The key elements and principles here are involved with the constant evolution of theater in Southeast Asia, evidence how contemporary practices go beyond innovation but still relate to their traditional roots. Practices of theater arts in Southeast Asia. Let's discuss. Different cultural heritages and artistic traditions abound in a variety of theater practices in Southeast Asia. The following is a short look at some of the important traditional and contemporary theatrical forms which come from the different parts of the region. 1. Thai classical dance drama, Kon. Kon is a traditional Thai theater form characterized by its elaborate costumes, masks, and highly stylized dance movements. It is often performed to narrate stories from the Ramayana, an ancient Indian epic that has been adapted into Thai culture. 2. Indonesian wayang kulit, shadow puppetry. Wayang kulit is a traditional form of shadow puppetry using intricately crafted leather puppets. The puppets are manipulated behind a translucent screen, and the stories are narrated through dialogue, music, and shadow play. 3. Malaysian Makyong. Makyong is a traditional Malaysian theater form combining dance, drama, and music. It originated in the northern states of Malaysia and is performed as a form of ritualistic and theatrical storytelling. 4. Filipino Teatro, stage plays. Filipino teatro encompasses a range of stage plays performed in various styles, from traditional folk dramas to modern plays. It often reflects social issues, historical events, and cultural themes relevant to Filipino society. Contemporary and emergent Southeast Asian theater is a potent medium through which cultural identity is created and diversity fostered. It serves as a reflection of modern-day complexities in the Southeast Asia region by way of preserving cultural heritage in an innovative manner, reworking traditional practices, addressing socio-political concerns, and representing diverse perspectives. In this respect, theater continues to shape the manner in which diverse identities in the region come to be conceived of and celebrated through cross-cultural dialogues, collaboration, and experimentation. Reflection questions. Cultural reflection. How do these theater practices reflect the values, beliefs, and traditions of their respective cultures? Artistic techniques. What are the key artistic techniques and elements used in these theater forms? How do they differ from each other? Modern adaptations. In what ways have these traditional theater forms adapted to contemporary contexts while preserving their cultural essence? Assessment. Instruction. Choose the correct answer for each question. 10 items. Which of the following best exemplifies interdisciplinary integration in Southeast Asian theater? A. The use of abstract staging with minimal dialogue. B. The incorporation of gamelan music, traditional dances, and video projections in an Indonesian play. C. A street performance in Manila that utilizes public spaces. D. A rural community group staging a play based on local folklore. 2. Cultural fusion in contemporary Southeast Asian theater is best demonstrated by A. The use of multimedia and visual projections in a Singaporean performance. B. The merging of traditional Filipino rituals with modern stories to address contemporary social issues. C. Audience participation that determines the outcome of the play. D. Abstract physical movement used to convey emotion in Thai theater. 3. Which principle is being applied in a Malaysian theater troupe experiments with fragmented narrative structures and multimedia storytelling? A. Cross-cultural dialogue. B. Political and social commentary. C. Narrative innovation. D. Community-based performance. 4. An Indonesian theater troupe engages local communities in creating a play that addresses local concerns. This is an example of which principle? A. Identity exploration. B. Political and social commentary. C. Community-based theater. D. Crossbreed performance spaces. 5. Which statement best reflects the principle of crossbreed performance spaces in Southeast Asian theater? A. A Filipino street theater transforms public spaces into performance venues. B. A Vietnamese play focuses on the role of women in the revolution. C. A Singaporean production incorporates visual projections and sound mapping. D. An Indonesian troupe blends traditional music with modern choreography. 6. When a Vietnamese play critiques corruption and social justice, it is an example of theater's role in A. Cultural preservation. B. Experimental forms. C. Political and social commentary. D. Gender and sexuality representation. 7. Which of the following illustrates experimental forms in contemporary Thai theater? A. The incorporation of traditional storytelling techniques with linear narratives. B. The use of abstract staging and multimedia to reinterpret classical texts. C. A community-based performance that involves local audiences in the storytelling process. D. A play that celebrates traditional Thai dance without modern elements. 8. Incorporating multimedia in Southeast Asian theater is characterized by A. The use of physical movement as a primary narrative tool. B. The addition of visual projections and sound to enhance the performance. C. Audience participation that influences the storyline. D. The preservation of traditional elements in a modern context. 9. A Southeast Asian theater company collaborates with artists from multiple countries to create a single performance. This exemplifies which principle? A. Gender and sexuality representation. B. Collaborative creation. C. Political and social commentary. D. Cultural preservation and revitalization. 10. A Filipino play explores issues related to LGBTQ representation. This is most closely aligned with which principle? A. Identity exploration. B. Gender and sexuality representation. C. Cultural fusion. D. Political commentary. Performance task. Creating a short theater performance. Task overview. Students will work in small groups to create and perform a short 3 to 5 minute theater piece that incorporates both traditional and contemporary Southeast Asian theater elements. The performance should reflect a social or cultural issue relevant to their community or society. Instructions. Research traditional Southeast Asian theater forms, example, Thai Kon, Indonesian Wayang Kulit, Filipino Teatro, and contemporary practices. Select a social or cultural issue, example, family, identity, social media, environment, as the theme for your performance. Incorporate at least one traditional theater element, costumes, music, dance, storytelling, and one contemporary theater technique, multimedia, modern dialogue, improvisation. Create a short script or outline for your performance, including key scenes and character roles. Perform the piece in front of the class, demonstrating clear storytelling, creative integration of traditional and contemporary elements, and teamwork. Rubrics for theater performance. Content and theme. Incorporation of traditional elements. Use of contemporary techniques. Teamwork and collaboration. Performance quality. Thank you for watching.